if you hear,
Well, I'm sorry,
if
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you hear like little pitter-pattery feet, that's Jack has zoomies right now.
So we look at that.
Zoomies, that just means that he's running as fast as he can all around this house, up
Wait,
and down.
why?
Why? Because he's he's crazy right now. He just wants my attention. He wants to show me
What?
how fast he is, that he's still a kitten.
Are you
He,
serious?
he's 10 years old.
Wait, so cats like when they want your attention, they run real fast around the house?
Yeah.
I would never understand cats.
Or sometimes he just like, sometimes they just get bursts of energy and they just like run.
I cannot. Like that is so hilarious, but like at the same time, just crazy.
You're fast, Jack. You're the fastest cat around.
They like want you to know, hey, I'm here. He probably smell Mr. Fox on you. That's probably what it is.
He did well, yeah, he had some words for me when I walked in.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Freaking love it. All right, before we start, where are you on the scale from 1 to 10? Where are we?
Um, my mental is good. I'm at like a 9.
Wow. Okay. You're the one that told me, right, that you can never be at a 10?
Yeah.
Okay. You still think
But
that? You still feel like that?
I mean, like okay, so like I get like your scale, right? I get it. But even at the doctor, like I never give like for even the pain scales.
Yeah.
I never go up to a 10 because I'm like, I feel like there could possibly be pain that's worse.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and like with like this, like the mental health thing is like, I don't know that I could like ever potentially reach like perfect, like a perfect, you know, until I'm with Jesus.
Yeah.
Um, so, but like, yeah, but I'm doing good. So like my 9 is like good for me, like really good.
Mhm.
Um, and also, I mean, I do have like there are still moments where um my depression comes and goes. Like
Yeah.
um and like the anxiety that I have comes and goes as well. But ultimately, I'm in a really good place.
That's what's up.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I would say the same. For me, I would definitely say a 10.
Mhm.
Um, for me, it's just a matter of like, and I definitely understand what you're saying about not ever being at a 10, but I think for me, I say a 10. Oh, excuse me. I say a 10 because like I feel like my happiness and joy can never be taken away because I feel like it's grounded in Christ.
Yeah,
it's grounded in that. And because it's grounded in that, it's like, man, it's immovable. There's nothing that you can do to shake it from that.
I definitely get that.
I get sad. I have my moments where I get sad or happy or mad or angry.
Mhm.
I have those moments, but those moments are so micro lived. They're so in the micro that, the macro overwhelms it.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no, the macro just completely absorbs it. And so, I think for me, it's just a matter of like, yeah, like I'm not focusing on those moments, and not saying that you or anyone else is that if you're not at a 10, but I think that's why I'm at a 10 constantly. It's because it's just, I'm constantly living in the macro, which is
Mhm.
a constant 10.
No, I think that's good. That's really good.
Hmm.
I mean, I definitely feel grounded. I think for me, like with the scales, is like I just think about
Mm.
even the feelings of like because when you asked me even it was like I think a couple weeks ago where I
Yeah.
was like a 7.5.
Yeah.
There was just stuff that had happened and I just was like feeling low at that point. And
Yeah.
it wasn't that
Mhm.
like it's just like my faith never faltered or any of that, or like my joy in the Lord was still there, but
Right.
like the feelings in the moment. And so something for me is that like I think because I like buried my feelings for so long, um and like in my life, like, and didn't
Yeah.
really share them or like
Yeah.
express them that much. Like when they would be expressed, sometimes it would be very volatile and
Yeah.
very extreme because I hadn't expressed them. And
Yeah.
so now I take the time to understand what I'm feeling
Yeah.
and feel it and allow it to be there, but
Hmm.
um still have like ground, like still having that groundedness, but understanding what I feel, and allowing myself to feel it, to
Yeah.
release it, really. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but
Yeah. For sure, it makes sense. Absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's amazing that you do that, that you do allow yourself to feel, allow yourself um that 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 moment, those moments. Um, I think it kind of goes into the topic too of what I was even wanting to talk about. I'm not gonna like steal Marquita's topic because I know she's not here, but
yeah.
like the saying, how do you say no, or how does not saying no affect your mental health? Um, I think that was
Yeah,
a good topic. So
we'll
yeah,
wait. We'll wait for her on that for sure.
exactly, exactly. I'll, save her that. But I do want to maybe talk about, because I'm always thinking about it, which is death. I do
Okay.
want to talk about it. Like I'm like, okay, like
Well, I mean, there's a lot that goes in, like, from mental health, like grief and like death.
yeah,
There's a lot
exactly.
into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good topic for mental health.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I like, and that's that actually that dives right into it. Like for you, I'm really curious to know like how when someone dies that well, let me start this way. Have you ever had someone close to you, and I think I know the answer, but I guess for the audience, have you had someone very close to you? And I'm talking close as in like you probably saw them every day, every other day. You would talk to them. They knew you, they know you. Um, they, they th this is your person. These are your people. Have you had someone like that close to you die? Um, or have you
Mm,
lost someone close to you like that?
well, I guess, okay, the way you put it, um, I would say no.
Okay.
I have had like people that I loved very much pass away.
Yeah.
But like the way you described it to me, like, no, I haven't had someone like that. Like to me, that's like a peer or like a really close friend.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, and no, I am very fortunate to not have had anybody um that I've been close to like that. Um,
Yeah.
but I do know like I've had friends who have had like people their age or even um like pass away.
Yeah.
That's difficult. But
So
for me, no.
okay, so no one that has been close to you and someone that like is super, super close to you. Like, because you mentioned and I'll mention this person because you always talk about them, your grandpa.
Yeah, my grandpa. Well, yeah, like I loved him very much. But it wasn't like to me like I miss him. Or I miss all my grandparents actually, because all of them are gone.
Yeah.
I don't have any living grandparents anymore.
Yeah.
The way that like to me, the way that you describe that is like that would be like if I lost my best friend,
Yeah.
that would be the
Mhm.
person that I would think of when you were describing that, like the way you described it, or like my sisters, um, or even my parents. But like, yeah, my grandparents, like it wasn't that we didn't get to hang out every day, like,
Yeah.
but I did like, I would call them, I wrote them letters. They wrote me
Yeah.
letters. Like, we would visit them on holidays. Like, they're very, very important people in my life, and they did shape a lot of things
Yeah.
um, in my life. And there was a lot of grief around their deaths, for sure.
Gotcha.
But also because they had lived such long lives, like all of my grandparents died when they were in their 90s,
Oh, wow.
except for
Oh,
my mom's mom. She died when she was, I think, 70 something.
yeah.
She died when I was in first grade, so I didn't like know her super well. But like my other
Yeah.
like my grandparents, they all lived into their 90s. So like they had long, beautiful lives. And so
Yeah.
while it's still very sad, it's also like expected around that age.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Where
Gotcha. Gotcha.
like, to me, like what you were describing felt like someone that would be like really close to you in age, like in your peer group. And
No, not really age. Not really age. Like it's more so like just people that you see every day. Like you're
oh,
interacting with. Yeah, these
mhm,
people that interact you see
okay,
every day. Age wouldn't really matter, but it's more so just a matter of like, yeah, I see this
got it.
person
Oh no, we lost you.
like that.
You
Say it
cut,
again?
you said you cut out, so I missed like what you said.
Oh, sorry, sorry. I was just saying, so you would say that you've never lost anyone like that though.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay. So then let me ask you this. Do you fear losing someone like that?
Do I fear losing someone? That's a good question. I mean, I definitely hope not to have to deal with that grief.
Mhm.
I don't wish that upon myself or upon anyone that I love. But I
But
also
you do know
but
that it's
I do
yeah.
know that life is like, life is unpredictable. You don't know what could happen.
And that it will happen, right? Like
And
you
then
will
eventually,
lose.
yeah, eventually
Yeah.
they will,
Yeah.
um, like, yeah, eventually. I mean, unless
Mhm.
the Lord comes before then, we all get to
Right, 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 right,
live
right.
together.
True. True. Yeah.
So there's that too. But,
Absolutely.
but yeah, no, I definitely don't wish that. But I also, like I said, I've had people like that are close to me that have had those experiences though.
Yeah.
And so I do know the sorrow that and the grief that comes with that because it's like
Yeah.
it's un when it's unexpected, it's because
Yeah.
when you think of an older person, while it's still very sad, you're like they had a long life. When you think of someone um that's young,
Yeah.
you're like it's very tragic and it's like a different kind of grief.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it could be that I don't know. I don't want to say it's a different kind of grief, but I think it is. Uh,
Yeah, I would say so too. Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
um, grief affects people differently too.
Yeah. Mhm. And
So,
that's what we're getting into. Exactly. So and that's the exact reason I'm asking these questions. Like it's and so wait, just so I make sure I understood that if you answered the question or not. So are you saying that you don't fear it or you do fear it?
I
You do fear
mean,
possibly losing it because you
well,
know that it will happen. Either someone will lose you.
I guess like I don't, yeah, and I know that somebody will lose me eventually, but like,
Yeah.
do I fear it? No, I don't fear death.
Hmm.
Um,
Of you, like death yourself or of another of a loved one.
I don't fear it I mean, I guess the only time I would say I fear it for
Yeah.
someone is if I know that they don't
No, the Lord.
know the Lord or have a
Yeah,
belief in
yeah,
God.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that would be the only like like that would be me praying against their death
yeah,
until they come to know him. Like that would be me saying, I I pray that they don't experience death until they've come to know Christ. Like
Yeah.
that would be my prayer for them.
Yeah.
So so anybody that I know that's in Christ, like I it's not that I wish death upon them,
Right.
but I know like we don't have to be afraid of death because Christ conquered it already. So
Yeah.
there's like no reason to be afraid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But the grief will still be there. Like that sadness will still be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And we're going don't jump into it because we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that.
Okay, okay. I won't jump.
No. I love it. I love that you're saying that. You're hitting everything I wanted to hit. Like you're getting in there. And that's the point. And that's a point that I'm like trying to touch on. But again, some people react very differently. I've met
Yeah.
people on both sides. It's like people don't really they're just like, hey, they're gonna die anyway. It's like, what? And then it's like, you didn't cry at all. Like it's like, but that was your mom, or that was your, and it's like, are they lying? So we're getting to that. But I did want to just start off with like knowing whether or not you had that, and if not, if you feared it. And from what I'm hearing, your answer is that no, you don't fear it.
Mhm.
You don't fear it. You don't fear it for someone who knows Christ, and for someone who doesn't. I guess you're saying that you do fear it, or that you kind of in the sense of like you probably feel bad because you know that it is an eternity in heaven that they're going to.
Yeah, I guess I'm not like I still am not afraid. Like I never want to allow like for me it's like I never want to allow fear. Like I allowed fear to control me for a really long time.
Mm.
And and we're not called to have a spirit of fear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, you know? And so like so I'm not going to place that upon me. So I'm not going
yeah,
to on fear. Um so so even for the like I said before, like even for the like I'm not necessarily afraid that they're gonna die, but I more so will just pray for them to know the Lord.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's good. Oh, that's really good. Okay, okay. So, okay, and has there ever been a death that has impacted you very heavily? Like, I guess for someone, so let's go, let's take it there. For someone, or for there being a passing that you have experienced, has there been a passing that has affected you very much so, where it was like it took you a minute to get over it? It really grieved you, it really damaged you. Has that been the case, or has there ever been the case in that way?
Um, well, I mean, each of my grandparents' death
I
were
guess
there.
for Brian,
Um,
give me one second. I'm sorry, Karen. Keep
mhm.
going. I'm listening. Keep going.
Yeah. Each of my grandparents' death, like they did have their own sense of grief, and it did take time to like even heal from those. And there's even like moments, I guess, like I think I shared with you, that like for a little bit, I thought I was cursed with
Wait, wait,
with
wait,
my
what?
um uh with my grandparents just because like um my grandpa on my mom's side
Yeah.
and that sang all the
All
time.
right, thank you. Hmm.
Um he passed away in February of 2015 when I was in Hawaii,
Yeah.
but we like kind of knew that the time was coming, and so like my parents called me. He was in the hospital and I did what I could to be there. And I got a flight as soon as possible and started like making my way to
Yeah.
see him before he passed. Um, but I had a layover in Washington,
Oh wow.
in Seattle, and when I got to that layover, I
Yeah.
got a call from my mom, and she said that my grandpa had passed while I was in the air,
Uh,
and that was really really hard. So instead of coming home to say goodbye, I was coming home
mhm.
for a funeral. Um,
Wow. Wow.
and so I did that. And then the same
Yeah.
thing happened again for my
Yeah.
dad. my dad's dad, my grandpa on my dad's side,
Uh,
I was still in Hawaii. It was 2018 this time
yeah.
in September. And this time my layover was in Atlanta and there was a beautiful sunrise. I have a picture
Yeah.
of that that I had taken a picture of in Snapchat. Um,
So you
and
were
then
here.
yeah, I was in Atlanta. And
Uh,
then when I had I got a call from the call again from my dad and said while I was
so,
on the
so you're breaking up.
phone,
Oh, you
my
broke up. I couldn't hear you at all.
oh,
Brian, oh, sorry. All right, thank you so much. Have a good one. Thank you.
can you hear me now?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Actually,
Um,
you kind of broke up.
I did.
Okay.
Okay. Well, okay. So I don't know exactly where I was in Atlanta and I got the call
Yeah. Mhm.
that my grandpa from my dad this time that my grandpa had passed away. And so
Yeah.
again, instead of getting to say goodbye,
Yeah.
uh I was going home for a funeral. And
Yeah.
then when my grandma got sick, in April of 2021, I again was really nervous.
Yeah.
I was in the army at that time, and
Uh,
I had to ask for I was able to get emergency leave to
okay.
go be with her,
Yeah.
and because I was flying to Des Moines, Iowa, there
Yeah.
was no direct flights to that because it's the
Yeah.
airport. So
Yeah.
I was like, Lord, please. I was like, please don't let me
Don't let this happen.
don't let this
Yeah.
happen again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I did have a short layover in Minneapolis. Everything was fine. I made it to Des Moines. I did get to see my grandma. And she got better actually for a little bit. And then
Yeah.
she ended up passing away in June of that year. But
Okay.
um, but I know like the very first time that it happened, like with my mom's dad,
Yeah.
like it's just like it was like I made a point to go visit my two remain my my dad's parents, my grandparents that were still alive. I made it a point to see them
Yeah.
because I was like, you just don't know when the
Yeah.
last time is going to be.
Yeah.
And so you have to like, make like a
Make a
priority.
priority. Yeah.
Like, and so I was like, this is a priority to me. Like before I go back to Hawaii, go back to my life there, I need to see them. And like my grandpa, my dad's dad at the time, he was in the nursing home at the time and he was suffering from having like dementia. And
Yeah.
he remembered me that time, but like towards the end, like he didn't really remember who I was. So
Man.
that was also hard. But
Sure.
but he
That
but he always remembered my grandma, which is like what I will like the joy in his eyes when he would see her, like that is something
yeah.
I'll always remember. Like he just
Yeah.
like, loved her so much.
Uh let me go in there right quick because there's a TV show that I watched and I'm not sure if you've seen it. If you haven't, you should save it for the movies and TV shows group and we'll watch it in there. Like seriously. I wanted to start that with the group.
What is this? What is this show?
It's called From. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yep. Don't watch it. We're watching the movies and TV shows group. We got to.
Okay.
We got to. We got to.
Okay. We'll do that.
Yeah, like there's a character in there that's going through dementia and his son is, kind of watching over him and whatnot. Um and just kind of I was watching that yesterday and it just kind of made me think about people who have to, in a sense, bear their loved ones going through that and to hear what you were saying. I'm very curious to know how you handled that. Like, because you knew this person before that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like this was my grandpa. Like
Yeah.
we did so many things together. Like
Oh, this is your grandpa that had
yeah,
dementia.
it was my grandpa that had dementia. He like towards the end, like um, I mean, he taught me how to fish. He taught me lots of things. Like we did so much. We played basketball together. We did all this stuff. Like,
Wow. This is the one that was singing.
no, not the singing one. This is my dad's
Oh. Oh, okay, okay. This is a different. Okay. Okay.
different one. This he didn't sing. I don't know if he
Okay.
could sing. I know,
You
I
know
know,
if he could sing?
I know my dad can't sing, so it's
Yeah.
possible grandpa couldn't either.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever really heard him sing. I know my grandma could, um,
Okay. Go ahead,
but
grandma.
yeah, but no, like uh when I went to visit him the first the first time after my grandpa on my mom's side, the one that sang, died,
Yeah.
like made it a point to go visit them. Like that was when he was first in the nursing home. And
Yeah.
so he his memory was still decent, but it
Yeah.
was like he needed to be there. Um, so we went there and like I was kind of newly in Hawaii at the time, and he told me stories of the time in the war because he had been in the army,
Yeah.
um, and how he had seen Diamond Head and like places that I um was now like living near, and
Yeah.
he told me about that time.
Hmm.
So so I remember like it was a good moments with him they like at that time, but like right before like the Christmas, I think it was in 2016, I went home for Christmas,
Yeah.
um and went and visited him, and he had deteriorated from then.
Wow.
They didn't know who I was. He was
Well,
like,
so this is the first. This is you first seeing like. This is you like this is your first time kind of seeing it really impact him,
yeah, like this is my first time like really
and he
impacted,
doesn't remember you.
like impact like how it impacted me, like because other people had seen it, like like
Yeah.
he had good days, sometimes he had bad days,
Yeah.
but it's like he kind of like looked at me like, who is this lady?
What?
That was
And
and that was like, it was so hurtful, like it was so hurtful, but
uh,
at the same time it's like I knew, like I knew it wasn't, but he, like because I
yeah.
was like nice, he talked to me. And then
Yeah.
and his grandma was right next to him. Like she would hold
Yeah.
his hand, like, and since my grandma was right next to him, like he looked at her and said, like, isn't she like the most beautiful? Like I met her, like he told me all about like sometimes he was like in college. Like he told me like there was a moment where his brain was in college and he was telling me about this test he had to study for,
Yeah.
that he was really worried about. So I was just like, I just listened and was like, okay, like whatever time period that they're in, that's like
Yeah.
what you know, you try to like stay with them, because it's like, even though it's
Yeah.
like hard, it's like you don't, they can get agitated, and
Yeah.
and it's not even their fault really, it's just their mind. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's hurtful, like it was hurtful. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like I couldn't be mad at him, or
Yeah.
like because it wasn't him, you know.
Absolutely.
Mm. This
Wow.
took a different turn on to what the topic was.
No, no, no. I told you, and these calls and these group calls, though we have topics, and sometimes we stick to them. We're more strict on sticking to certain ones. No, I love when it goes off on a tangent, and again, especially if I'm the one leading it off on the tangent. Like, it's not you, it's me, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and I want to know. I want to know about this. Like that's
well,
dementia
there's
is a big thing.
and there's grief involved with that too.
Yeah.
Like not like, because it's
Sure.
like you have grief comes with like so many different types of losses. It's not just death,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
the loss of your memory,
Yeah.
like honestly, like I don't know how I would feel. And I'm sure like my grandpa went through some stages of grief with it too. not remembering, being frustrated, angry.
Wow. Wait. Let me ask you this. So you feel like a person that's going through dementia, because again, we're talking about mental health. This is definitely up the aisle of mental health.
Yeah.
Um, so a person that's going through dementia and things of that nature, you feel like they know that they're transitioning. They know that it's getting bad.
I think in some cases they do, in some cases they don't. Like in some cases, like it just depends on their like mental state
Yeah,
at the time. Sometimes they don't recognize it, but like they do come out of it. Like they have like moments of like where they remember and they have moments where they don't. And so like when they
yeah,
do, I think that they remember that they're like I know my grandpa did not like being in that nursing home. And
yeah,
and like he had to spend his days like without my grandma, which was the love
yeah,
of his life.
yeah,
Like they had been married for over 50 years.
yeah,
So like and then at the end of his life he's not able to be in the same house and room with her. Like
yeah.
that also has to take a toll as well mentally.
Why couldn't he be in that same house in the same room?
Just because of the way that like his health, he needed more support than she could give, and like,
Mm,
the house that they lived in, and she didn't need that at the time. Like she was still very independent, so
yeah,
she didn't want to move into the nursing home, and because he had to be in the memory ward,
yeah,
they didn't allow like he needed a certain level of care
yeah,
that didn't allow for them because they were in different places
yeah.
to be able to live together.
Gotcha.
So I know that was hard on both of them.
7:22, 7:32, 22. Okay, here we go. Give me 1 second, miss.
No problem. I'm still eating.
Okay. Hey, how you doing, man? Yep, do that. Yep. Hey, here you go, bro. All right, man. Have a good one. All right, thank you. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm back.
Okay, cool.
Okay. But yeah.
This
That,
would also be a good topic for Marquita too, because she actually works with
yeah,
these patients.
absolutely.
She'll probably know like so much more. Like this is my like personal experience with it, but she has like expertise
Yeah, hands down. No,
as,
I agree.
as a CNA.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'll definitely let her know. Uh, yeah, it just yeah, something about this topic and things that kind of just really like touch me. This type of topic. Uh,
Let me ask
and thank you.
you,
Yeah,
have
yeah. Go ahead.
have you experienced like a loss that you were describing?
That's a really good question. Um, Let me see.
I know this will give me time to eat. I've been talking a lot. Now it's your turn.
Yeah, nice to eat, right? I'm sorry. Okay, that's a good question. I'm trying to see how I can answer this. Let me see. Let me see. Hmm. Yes, I have. And I wouldn't say they were necessarily as close as I described them to, like in terms of like how I said that they sh like you talk to them every day and this and that.
Mhm.
Not no one like that per se. But some of them were people that I used to. You guys
Mhm.
know we used to talk almost every day, every other day. They were
Yeah.
every other day they were in my life, things of that nature.
Mhm.
Um, or it was people that were very significant to me, even though it wasn't every day, but they were very pivotal in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, all right. I was just
I was
answering
gonna,
this. I
I
was
was
just responding to
gonna,
this text. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say if you were talking, I didn't hear you.
You can't hear me, right? Okay, so I would say for let's see, I can answer this. I would say for that level of grief, it was definitely still very impactful. It was definitely still very influential. Um, one of them were even more very, very recent. Like I lost a grandma to breast cancer, essentially,
Mhm.
and like those type of things, and seeing that person, deteriorate, even with cancer, right? Cancer being a lot like dementia in the sense that you see the person deteriorate. You see them
Yeah.
battling with chemo and all these different things that take out their hair and make them very skinny, you know, um, barely, barely any energy and can barely talk and all those different things. And so, um, yeah, yeah, I've definitely had that. And, uh, I took it a lot stronger than other people around me, like my mom, for instance, right? She seems to, the older she gets, she seems to grieve more, like harder. I'm sorry, not more, but harder. She grieves
Yeah.
harder, in terms of like people that die. It becomes harder for her to cope with it, or not even cope with it, but to process it, to deal with. I've seen that in her. Um, and what do you think too? Like, do you kind of agree with the, I guess, statement or the kind of like the rule of thumb in the sense of like as you get older, life becomes more sad or more serious or more like not so funny or fun because you're losing people and what I'm saying? Like as you get older, when you're young, you can't even really process losing someone because you're like young, you're having a lot of fun, the world is kind of simple to you, especially when
Mhm.
you're like, an infant or a child like.
Yeah.
Um, like in those moments, the world just feels amazing. But when you start to grow and you start to understand, your comprehension starts to grow and you start to really understand what's going on around you. Do you agree with that in the sense of like that, the world then becomes more colder and more serious and less fun or less enjoyable? Do you agree with that adamant statement?
No, I don't.
Okay. No, I like that. Why?
No. Well, because I don't think that like I understand where people are coming from with it, but I
Mm,
don't think that like just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have like there are serious moments. There are time like
yeah,
there is a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of things like that you don't recognize as a child.
yeah.
Um, you know, that happens, but I think you should enjoy life as you have it. Like,
Mm,
um, so I think that, like, I mean, I feel like my grandpa is the perfect example of it. Like, my grandpa on my mom's side, like, he brought joy to so many people
yeah.
in his life. Like, he was, in, let's see, I think 98 when he died. And
Wow.
like legitimately like in the nursing home and the assisted living, like the nurses loved him because he
Wow.
brought a smile to their faces. Like he would have a song to sing. He would like, he was flirty too. So like
Okay, yeah, come on now. Yeah, 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 I knew you were holding something out. I knew you were. He brought a smile to no. Was he flirting?
he was a flirt. He
Was
was a
Grandpa looking at some booty? Come on now.
he had a girlfriend too.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm just saying, like, you can't like that is like in and of itself is like a mindset that you have like that people I think can take on. Now it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that like yes, as you get older, you will have a lot more people in your peer group die
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the age. And so is that sad? Absolutely. And
Yeah.
there's going to be grief and it's going to impact you,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially like if they're really close to you, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like
Like your
that will
mom or your dad. Yeah.
yeah. And so that will impact you. And there
Yeah.
is time and there is like I mean, there's time for grief. Like
Yeah.
I mean, even like in the Bible it says there's a time for everything.
Yeah.
And so you have to allow those moments, but
Yeah.
you also can't like just dismiss joy and fun and
Yeah.
and all of that just because you're older.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be a miserable life.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. It's just that, you know, how a lot of people see it, say that they feel like they lost a part of them. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom is one of the closest people to me in this world. You know, like,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and if she went before me, I can be honest with you, I don't know how I would respond. Like, I don't know how I would be as a person, as a man. You know,
Yeah,
like,
but if you go before her, she would probably feel the same way,
yeah, absolutely.
maybe even more so,
Yeah,
because, like as a parent, you don't expect to lose your child before you. Like you expect you know, you're like, I'm supposed to die first, like as a parent, while that
yeah,
is still like that is hard on the child, very much so. But like when a parent loses a child, that's so difficult too because they're like, they were supposed to outlive me.
yeah,
Like that's the thought. So yeah, I think there is a part of you that like can pass away as well, like with the person. But
yeah.
um oh, this was a beautiful actually this was really beautiful. Like this just reminded me, like this conversation just reminded me actually this older lady at church today. She always
Mhm.
comes up and she tells me, she says, worship is her favorite part of the service. Like worship is like the best. Like she always thanks me for being a part of it. And that
Mhm.
she told me today, she told me about her mom passing away and
Yeah,
how it was really difficult for her as a child.
yeah,
But she said that God gave her the ability to like see her after death.
yeah.
Like she saw like a vision of her. And she
Mm.
said, do not be afraid, and I'm with you, because
Yeah,
she's like, Jesus is with you, and like, and her mom was a believer, and she said to me, she says, like, if you're in Christ, like we don't die. Like we don't
mm.
really die. Like you die here, but your spirit lives on and like you go to
Yeah,
heaven. And so like they're still with us. Like I know, and so to me that gives me a comfort as well. Like while there is that grief of not seeing them here, there's also a comfort in knowing that like I know that all of my grandparents were believers, so I know that they're in heaven, and I know that
yeah,
they're part of that great cloud of witnesses. They're
yeah.
praying, like they're rooting for me, like all of this stuff,
Mm.
like. And so
Yeah,
to me, that's a comfort, like knowing that, like while there is still that sadness and that grief that lasts, like that they're in those moments because you're like, man, I miss seeing them face to face.
yeah. Hmm.
Like it's just to me, there's that comfort in knowing they're not really gone.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. That's really good. That's really good. That's really good. This is deep. Deep. We got pretty deep. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Um, no, but I love it. I love it. Yeah, again, I'm gonna title this probably like death and grief. Oh no, I'm sorry, death and mental health. Like title it probably that. Death and mental health. Like, because I think death plays such a huge part on you mentally, or
Yeah.
that it can. But from what it sounds like you're saying like, even in death, you have to choose to not allow it to zap away your joyful side, the part of you that is still joyful and happy. Um,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
I mean, I think like again, like I was saying before, like where I've learned to allow myself to feel, I think
Mhm.
we still have to allow ourselves to feel that grief. You still have to allow yourself to feel whatever it is
Yeah.
you feel, like whatever, like there's 5 stages of grief,
Yeah.
right? And like you don't necessarily go through them linearly, like in a line, linearly.
Yeah.
I can't say that
Mhm.
word right
No, I got you.
now. But yeah, so like when you're there though, when you're in one of those stages,
Yeah.
like I would say the best thing you can do is to go through it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And like and to find somebody to talk to through it. That's
Yeah. Eh,
like not necessarily going through it alone, but like,
Yeah.
but allow yourself to go through it. Like you don't always like you have to have people that you don't have to put a brave face on for all the time.
Yeah.
Like you have to find those people that you can be real with
Yeah.
because life sucks sometimes. So
Yeah.
just you have to have those moments where you can be real.
Yeah.
But like remembering that there is joy. Like
Yeah.
what is it? The verse that says joy comes in the morning. Like weeping may last. Yeah, here it is. Weeping may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. So it's okay to cry. It's okay to let it out. It's okay to grieve.
Yeah.
But remember that joy comes in the morning. That's a promise.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. 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 I honestly don't know how people get through death without the Bible. Like, like,
Yeah, it's
you
true.
know, like what
Mhm.
else do you have?
Yeah.
What else do you have?
Mhm.
Eh,
Yeah.
eh, eh. I think one of the saddest things when it comes to death and just life in general, I think one of the saddest things or one of the saddest states to be in is pure hopelessness, like complete hopelessness.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's like a really
Oh yeah.
scary place to be.
It's a very scary place to be. I've been there.
You've been there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 It's like, you know, the feeling of nothing or nobody to help you or pure utter, you know, complete cutoff from any form of help or salvation, like that, that, look, AKA hell. That's hell, literally,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I think it's incredible, the strength that you have gained throughout your, your time with the grievances you've had with your experiences. I think death itself is a lesson. I think death itself is a in many ways it's a gift. It's a reminder, that reminds us that this isn't all.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that,
Yeah.
if you think about it, that's very gracious because the Lord could let us go on literally thinking that this is all we have. And that would just be an illusion by which when you do die, it's a complete and utter surprise of, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
but there being a complete like a complete and endless cycle of reminders that this isn't all from creation itself, art, going back to what we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
to death itself, which also reminds you that you didn't put yourself on this earth, nor can you determine when you're gonna go. Like we don't
Right.
know. You know, even
Right.
when someone tries to take their own life, you don't know if you will take it will be successful. There's been plenty of chances, terms, you know, there's been plenty of times where some people haven't,
Right.
you know, and so the ultimate creator determines that when you draw your last breath because he gives it.
Right.
And so it's really all a jaw-dropping all in terms of beauty of how the Lord has orchestrated the world and death and life and all the reminders. Again, it's funny, we kind of loop it back into creation and art. Um,
Well, I mean,
which is
like
yeah, which
like
is
we,
fine.
I mean, like we said before, though, like like he's in everything, so
Yeah,
therefore, like it's just it makes sense that it
it makes
comes
sense.
to them.
You said it. You said it. You're saying it.
It is 7:55.
Yep. Yep. This other said. So let's go ahead and get it, get a little downtime before we jump into the next one. The next one is what? Oh, freaking fitness. Wow. All right, I got a good one. I got a good one. I got a real good one. And make sure
As I'm
again if you
eating a cookie,
said again.
I said as I'm eating a cookie right now.
Yo, I'm telling G.
I was
I'm
fine.
telling.
I was fine. So,
You gonna tell on yourself?
yeah.
Watch she flips it around and makes it all. It's okay. You can always watch. But let it be me. Let it be me. And
How about you?
oh,
You ate a cookie.
huh?
How about you tell her you ate a cookie? Then I say I ate a cookie. We'll see what happens.
You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's freaking do it. Let's do it. I'm down. I'm down. All right. All right, we're gonna hop off. I know we got about again 4 minutes till. I know
Mhm.
she's coming in because she scheduled it. I saw her schedule as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's definitely hopping in. She loves it. She's consistent with it. She enjoys the calls, and I'm so happy that she does. But
Mhm.
yeah, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So love you, and I'll
Thank you.
catch you on the next one.
See you next time.
Let's do it.
Bye.
Bye.